Now, the life of an actor sure is a strange and uncertain one, where you can go from being the toast of Hollywood to becoming the industry punching bag within a mere matter of weeks. All it takes is one high-profile flop to turn the public tide against an actor. So let's take a look at them, and remember that this is definitely tongue-in-cheek, so of course they could act circles around me even on a very, very, very bad day. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 actors who haven't made a good movie in years. Number 10. Mark Wahlberg. Most people would consider Mark Wahlberg an over-the-hill actor by any means, but he's certainly been slumming it in a slew of forgettable, unremarkable movies in recent years. Wahlberg's last well-received movie was 2018's Instant Family, and all 7 movies that he's appeared in since have been pilloried by critics, with his most recent release, Netflix's Me Time, landing a career worst of 6%. In Wahlberg's case, his critical downturn coincided with his career focus shifting away from major theatrical blockbusters, with the exception of Uncharted, and instead towards streaming movies. Films like Spencer Confidential, Infinite, and Me Time were dumped onto their respective streaming services with little fanfare amid negative reviews, even if they performed relatively well in terms of actual viewing figures. All the same, Wahlberg seems perfectly happy giving basically the same Mark Wahlberg performance in every single movie, regardless of its genre, and so it's little surprise that critics are readily dinging him for so obviously phoning it in time and time again. Number 9. Morgan Freeman. At 85 years of age, with an Oscar and more than 50 years of acting behind him, Morgan Freeman has absolutely nothing to prove to anyone. But at the same time, his sheer presence evokes so much gravitas that it's a shame that he's getting close to an entire decade without appearing in even a single acclaimed film. If you take away Freeman's appearances in a few documentary projects and his various voiceover roles, we haven't seen him physically appear on screen in a critically praised movie since 2014's Dolphin Tale 2, which got 66% on Rotten Tomatoes. Since then, Freeman has had a stonking 17 panned movies to his name, many of them low-rent thrillers like Last Nights, The Poison Rose, Vanquish, Paradise Highway, and most recently the preposterously titled The Minute You Wake Up Dead, which scored 0%. Woof. And you know what? Freeman has certainly earned the right to cash in on his good name and make off with some easy paychecks in the twilight era of his career, even if it would be great to see him back on a quality project with a renowned filmmaker at least once more. Number 8. Mila Kunis. Why hasn't Hollywood found any compelling star vehicles for Mila Kunis for literally an entire decade? She's hilariously funny and she's a compelling dramatic actress to boot, and yet you barely know it from her output since 2012. Her last decently reviewed movie was 2012's hit comedy Ted, since which her career has been filled with dud blockbusters like Oz the Great and Powerful and Jupiter Ascending, plus forgettable comedies such as Bad Moms and The Spy Who Dumped Me, and of course mawkish dramas like 4 Good Days. That's 13 straight critical flops in a row, which for somebody who starred in a Best Picture Oscar nominee, Black Swan, back in 2010 is quite the fall from grace indeed. In the very least, it doesn't appear to have harmed her reputation all that much, seeing as her performances in these films haven't been overtly criticised, so she just about gets away with it. Even so, it'd be great to see her in a project more befitting her talents. Number 7. John Travolta. John Travolta's career has been quite the roller coaster ride indeed. For though his Oscar-nominated performance in Pulp Fiction gave him a major resurgence throughout the mid to late 1990s, at the turn of the millennium, his career hit the skids once again. Since 1999, Travolta has appeared in 30 major movies, only 3 of which have received good reviews, and over the last 15 years, he's appeared in just one good film, 2016's Western in a Valley of Violence. Around a decade ago, Travolta began starring in a bevy of increasingly unambitious direct-to-video action thrillers, as so many of his aging action stars also have, with 5 separate movies all receiving the disastrous 0% on the tomato meter: Life on the Line, Gotti, Speed Kills, Trading Paint, and The Poison Rose. It's a shame, as Travolta certainly doesn't seem tired or over the hill. He's simply been taking easy paydays for a long enough time to devalue his own brand in the process. It would be great to see him show up in Tarantino's allegedly final upcoming movie and get a third wind as he enters his 70s. Number 6. Diane Keaton. Now, Diane Keaton is a lovely, charming actress by most accounts, and has forever cemented herself in the hearts of millions through her collaborations with Woody Allen, her performance across the Godfather trilogy, and her Oscar-nominated turns in Reds, Marvin's Room, and Something's Gotta Give. Yet since starring in Something's Gotta Give 20 years ago, Keaton hasn't physically appeared in a single well-reviewed movie, her only critically fresh part being a voice role in Pixar's Finding Dory. Since 2003, Keaton's career has been littered with almost 20 critically eviscerated dramas and low-rent comedies. movies. While this perhaps speaks to Hollywood's historical lack of opportunities for women over the age of 60, it's still a shame to see her starring in consistently dreadful, no-effort genre films. At 77 years of age, you can't really blame Keaton for preferring to focus on undemanding comedy work over more challenging dramatic fare, but even so, it's maddening that Hollywood can't find her a role in a comedy that, is actually funny. Number 5. Billy Bob Thornton. There's no two ways about it. As an actor, Billy Bob Thornton absolutely rules, and yet that's hardly been reflected in his cinematic output of late. Thornton hasn't showed up in a good movie since his supporting role in 2016's Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and some of his subsequent projects include the wildly disappointing Bad Santa 2, London Fields, and Netflix's colossally underwhelming The Grey Man. And Whiskey Tango Foxtrot is itself an outlier, given that Thornton's last live-action role in an acclaimed movie prior to that was 2004's Crystal. To clarify, he starred in more than 20 critical duds over the last 2 decades. Thornton does at least mix in the occasional TV project like Fargo, Goliath, and 1883 to ensure that you can find him doing some quality work somewhere, but sadly, it's all far away from the big screen. Thornton at least has a majorly commanding screen presence, so it feels like he's just one right project away from breaking this streak. Number 4. Jessica Biel. Now, to be completely fair to Jessica Biel, she's certainly scaled back her career in recent years to focus on raising a family, and has as such gravitated more towards the more schedule-friendly world of limited TV series. Even so, Biel's last appearance in a lauded movie was 2012's Hitchcock, and her 9 movie roles since have ranged from the middling received The Truth About Emmanuel to the outright panned Accidental Love. Though Biel did receive an Emmy nomination in 2018 for her performance in The Sinner and was largely praised for her recent turn in Hulu's Candy, she's been completely inactive on the movie front since 2017. It is also worth pointing out that across Biel's filmography, she has just 3 fresh movies to her name from a sampling of more than 30. That is less than a 10% hit rate overall. Number 3. David Duchovny. David Duchovny has a uniquely laid-back temperament as an actor that could be so easily mistaken for laziness, yet absolutely isn't. It's extremely hard to make acting look that natural and, dare one say, absolutely effortless. Though Duchovny has never made a major leap from TV to film following the success of The X-Files, he has nevertheless appeared in a number of genre films, primarily comedies, over the last 20 years. In the last year alone, Duchovny has appeared in 3 films: The Bubble, The Estate, and You People, following the woefully misguided The Craft legacy back in 2020. Sadly, none of these movies have much to offer the actor, who's largely been coasting on forgettable projects like this since his last acclaimed one, which is the Showtime TV series Californication, for which he received a Golden Globe Award in 2008. In the film stakes, Duchovny's last decent movie was The Joneses, which scraped a barely fresh rating of 62% back in 2009. And you know what? It's Hollywood's loss, because they are sleeping on a major talent right here. Number 2. Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson enjoyed an undeniable career resurgence following the release of Taken in 2008, reinventing him as a most unexpected action star and reliable box office draw, no matter the mixed critical notices. But in recent years, Neeson's output has nosedived considerably, moving away from mid-budget genre fare towards cheaper basic assembly genre films, which haven't even had theatrical releases in many countries. Neeson's last critical hit was the drama Ordinary Love back in 2019, and in the 4 years since, each of his 7 films has received predominantly negative reviews, with the recent likes of Blacklight, Memory, and Marlowe even being outright panned. With a score of just 11%, Blacklight is by far the worst reviewed film of his career, and suggests that he desperately needs to hang up the rote action flicks and just get back to making quality dramas again. Otherwise, at the rate that he's going, it won't be surprising to see him following in the footsteps of Bruce Willis, John Travolta, Sylvester Stallone, and so on, and going the geezer teaser route soon enough, and that is starring in ultra-low budget action flicks where he's paid a handsome sum for about 15 minutes of screen time. And number 1, Meg Ryan. Believe it or not, Meg Ryan hasn't starred in a single good movie since one of her very biggest box office hits, You've Got Mail, which came all the way back in 1998. That is an entire quarter century without a fresh movie, and though Ryan has admittedly appeared in just one feature film over the last decade, she still has 10 consecutive critical flops to her name over a whole 25 years. In recent years, Ryan has made a concerted effort to step back from Hollywood A-list and focus on filmmaking itself, though several planned projects ultimately never came to fruition. She has, however, directed and co-written an upcoming romantic comedy, What Happens Later, in which she will co-star opposite another actor on this list, David Duchovny. Fingers are crossed then that it might bring them both their first critical hit in a damn good while. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 actors who haven't made a good movie in years. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Instagram, where it's @RetroJ, but the O is a 0. Hope to see you over there. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Hope that you're treating yourself well with love and respect, my friend, because you are a massive ledge and you deserve the best, alright? And I wish you nothing but love, and I want you to go out there and smash your life goals today. I believe in you. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon.